How do you pronounce your last name, actually?
Champouillon.
Champouillon.
Champouillon. Yeah, like shampoo and chicken bouillon. Champouillon.
So today I'm here with Ryder Champouillon, if I pronounce that correctly.
Correct, yep.
Okay, and he is, tell us who you are.
So my name, obviously, Ryder Champouillon. I am known as the modern day monk. I am a healthcare, fitness, and life consultant and coach right here on Long Island. I got 40-something years of doing this because I've been doing it since I was born, like we all do. And I pretty much spent my life making mistakes and trying to recover and repair from them, both physical, legal, mental, emotional, substance mistakes, and testing the limits and trying to figure out ways and paths to recovery and taking my experience, my knowledge, and my lessons and pass them on to other people to either help prevent them from making the same mistake or to help them get the results that they're looking to quicker and faster.
Okay, well, very nice. Welcome to the first inauguration of the Average Bob Fitness, kind of a vodcast, a little bit of everything cast, a little bit about us here at Average Bob Fitness. We are looking to find your healthier and happier you, whether that's you want to lose a couple of pounds or if you want to be a physique model. That's up to you. If you want to be more mentally healthy, we're going to have all of that for you. And that's what we're here about. And today we are actually going to be discussing the video that we had previously during the week, which is called Day Ones, where I discussed about what a day one is to me and how important day ones are in your journey, and not just the fact that day one starts your journey, but that it can be a testament to who you are. You know, starting a day one is as important as the day 1000, but you might have thousands of day ones, but may only have one day 1000. So that's kind of what we look at. So having that day one and knowing a day one exists can motivate you in some way. So we're going to be talking to Ryder today about that. So Ryder, what do you think about day ones?
Well, I think you just nailed it completely on the head, right? Like every day is a day one, right? You have the opportunity every single day to get up, to make your bed, brush your teeth, brush your hair, and put on a happy face or put on a sad face, right? Like the old saying of what side of the bed did you wake up on? Are you choosing to wake up and realize that, hey, like I woke up today. 250,000 people pass away every single night. So if you won that lotto and you woke up today and, you're able to get yourself out of bed and smile, that's a loving day. That's an amazing day, right? And we have the moments. Every moment in every day is an opportunity to say, how do I want to be in this moment? Right? Because I think a lot of times we end up thinking about get stuck in the past and who I was or what happened or those bad things that were said, or we have dreams of the future that we're trying to get to and working so hard towards those goals. And both of those were actually missing the magic of being in the moment, right? And the only thing that is really unavoidable, right? It's inevitable, is this moment. Not that one or that one. It's this one that we're in right now, and choosing at that moment, each and every moment of the day, to say, how do I want this day one to be, is a cardinal rule to actually having an elevated life, because it gives you the opportunity to take control. And in having control, you realize that you can make that future or get over that past.
Good. Now with day ones, obviously comes the day after, which are day twos. So setting up that first initial day one and knowing that you've set a goal for that day, whether we were discussing a little bit off camera about the making your bed every day. And how important it is to have that one thing that you've done. And that itself can be a day one, is that you decide that I'm going to make my bed every day so that I know that I've accomplished one thing. So the first day that you make that bed is your day one. Same with starting a fitness routine or a meditation cycle. That day one is the day that you start that meditation cycle or that you start that fitness routine, and marking it down in a calendar and seeing your progress. So in regards to mental health, I think day ones kind of assist in everything. But I know that you work with a lot of clients on reaching their goals, and that's all what we do here is reach goals. So how do you have them represent their day ones?
So many things, right? Like you touched on like 18 topics. I can go off on hours for just in that little sentence. So I think the first thing is taking honesty into account, right? Like, where are you right now? Like, honestly, don't make it better than it is. Don't make it worse than it is. Get to the actual of it is. I have a rule in my medical practice where I ask people on a scale of 0 to 10, how bad is it? Blah, blah, blah. And I say, the one rule of this is you can't say 7. Because everybody across the fucking board is like, I'm a 7, pain's a 7, my energy's a 7. It's like, no, once you take 7 away, they're like, oh man, 6 is kind of shitty. And 8, like, that's pretty fucking good. So it makes them have a delineating factor of like, where am I actually on this scale right now? And I have a technique that I use with a lot of my clients. We use it as a coping mechanism, as a break point when stress is happening, a decision-making mechanism. And we call it SARA. It's stop, assess, stop, assess, look at the results, and then take action, right? So rate it, look at the results. So we want to stop. And I usually have people stop, like take 6 breaths, do that square breathing for 6 seconds each way, whatever it is, and then take an assessment. How are things right now? Like, what's really going on? And then rate it. Is this the worst thing that I've actually ever been through? What will happen if it is the worst thing? Like, am I going to spontaneously explode if things don't go wrong? Or is it like, hey, cool, I might be asking my friend if I can sleep on their couch for a week or 2 until I get back on my feet, right? Like, we tend to make things really worse or really better than they actually are, exaggerating or lying about them, right? So I think for most people, the first thing to do is really say, where am I now? What is actually going on in my life with me and the people around me and the situations that are going on that's actually authentic? Right? And taking it from there. And then with this equal as much authenticity, looking and saying, where do I want to go? Right? Because every path leads to nowhere if you don't know where you want to go. Right? So like, you have to have some idea. If I want to say, hey, cool, man, let's go to Florida. Great. How do we get there? Well, it really depends which direction you go is from where you're coming from. Right? If you're coming from Texas, you're heading east. If you're coming from New York, you're going south. Right? So you need to have a different plan depending on where you are and where you want to go. And then the question to ask in between that is, what am I willing to pay? Right? Like in traveling to any destination, all a goal is trying to travel to a destination. Right? Do you want to walk and take the slow, arduous, tedious way? Or do you want to fly on a private jet and have everything catered to you? Right? It's probably going to cost more. It might be some more risk involved, other things. Like there's a price to pay. And there's rewards that go along with it as well, too, right? So the first thing I do is try to figure out like where people are, where they want to go, and how do they actually want to travel. There's a lot of people are like, yep, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to change my fitness. I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to do all these things. There's 7,000 things. I'm restructuring my entire life. I'm waking up tomorrow to be a brand new existence. And like dropping a frog into boiling water, that shit helps right the fuck back out, right? Many people need that slow, easy turn up where you put a frog into a pot of cold water, you turn the flame up. It will cook itself over time because it doesn't realize the water is getting warm around it, right? So like, is the type of person that really wants that slap in the face that, hey, I'm going to have David Goggins come to my house and live with me for a week and slap my ass into gear? Or am I like, cool, man, like we got to take a slower approach and really go at my speed because I got some shit to deal with, this baggage to carry with me. And that's absolutely fine. The next most important thing in that is what you said. What gets measured gets managed, right? Putting that success down on the calendar and making sure the success isn't this super huge overarching thing. Very often we strive for like the grand prize, like, oh, I climbed Mount Everest, right? Cool, you did, but how many steps did you take to get there, right? Every one of those steps is a moment to realize like, hey, I'm making progress towards my goal, right? And progress and effort are really what we should value our results and our self-worth on, not just getting that overarching final banner of that win. Right? Like every fighter that you know in the jiu-jitsu gyms, the MMA gyms, right? Sure, they may go to that fight and they may have that big win. They may get that title. But how many hours of work they put in? How many wins happened in the gym where they wanted to give up? Things got too hard. They didn't want to go train that day. They really wanted a snack when they were trying to make weight. Like all these different avenues of life where we get tested and challenged every single day are where our successes actually come from. right? You get that new car, you get that new job, the big thing happens. You're happy for a few minutes, maybe a few days, maybe a week. You're really lucky and it's a really cool thing that happens. And eventually it wears off. The new car is not so special. The new hot girlfriend's not so special. The new job's not so special. The raise ain't so special. The money's not enough. Whatever it might be, the law of familiarity lets it fade away. So the only way that you can weigh against that really is to say, hey, how can I fill my life with as many small things, right? Like, don't sweat the small stuff and stop and smell the roses, right? A journey of 1,000 steps is made by one step at a time, right? It's those little incremental things. One of the things I really, really work on and stress with a lot of my clients is set winnable goals, right? This is your game. This is your game of life. You have the opportunity to set the rules up. Don't make the rules so fucking hard that you don't get any points. Like, I wake up and one of my favorite jokes I say with my clients is, hey, you're in the worst parts of it. Believe me, I've been in dark places. I've overdosed. I've had guns in my mouth. Like, I've been in some dark holes of places. So I've used these things on myself to get myself back up to where I am and out of those parts. And one of my rules of life is if I wipe my ass and I don't get shit on my hands, that's a fucking win. You can't even see what you're doing back there, right? So, like, toilet paper didn't break, like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So, like, set yourself up to win. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're breathing, smile, give yourself a pat on the back and say, hey, you know what? Like, that was a win. This was good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, you definitely talked about 18,000 things that we can now talk about for the next couple hours. And something that I appreciate that you said was the part about goals, and that the goals are what you control. You don't have to have a goal that is so lofty and so big that you may never reach it. It's the little, and what I said in the video as well was it's the little intrinsic victories that you have, the things that you get that you don't realize are a part of the journey that you're taking. So, like, you're talking about how the fighter, the fighter may win or lose in that cage, but he had so many victories to get to that point. He's made weight, he's gotten his hands up, he's stopped dropping his guard. He took down 10 guys in a row at the gym doing, 10 5-minute rounds back to back to back. And it's those little intrinsic victories that you earn and that you should really celebrate the success of those as much as the success of the big win. Yeah, everybody wants to be the big winner. But if you take all those little victories on the route there, you are a big winner. Even if you have one little victory, you still won for that day. The toilet paper did not rip.
Shit, man, there's no shit on my hand. I did good.
Yeah, I walked out of that bathroom like a champion. And
here's the science of it, really, too. Like, you want to get onto like brain chemistry and science and neuroplasticity section. When we have a negative thought in our mind, like, our brains are wired for survival, right? And survival means not doing or dealing with shit that's going to kill you, hurt you, or steal your resources, right? So it's identifying fears, things that will create loss, less, and never. Our minds is wired to say, like, hey, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, and point out all the bad things around you so that you stay away from them and they don't attack you, right? It's a saber-toothed tiger in the grass. That's all it is. But the brain doesn't know the difference between your cell phone going off or the saber-toothed tiger, which is why in the middle of the day, if a loved one calls you and it's not expected, you're like, oh my God, what went wrong? Right? Or you see a police car coming up behind you, like, oh my God, they're pulling me over. I'm not doing anything wrong. What's going on? Our brains are wired to look for trouble first. And then maybe, if we're lucky, we find some benefit thereafter. Now, what happens in the brain when that happens? There is 10 times more neural development, meaning your nerves are getting bigger, faster, and stronger for a negative than for a positive. So if you have a negative thought about yourself, or you replay a negative instance, a past trauma, an insult, an accident that you may have had, the brain, every one time you have that thought, it's having 10 times more stimulation in the brain than a positive thought. So every time you beat yourself down, and we all play our failure reel constantly. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have happened. I'm not keeping up with them. They have a nicer car, yada, yada. The list goes on. We're constantly beating in 10 times, 10 times, 10 times. Once you say it out loud, it adds another multiple of 17. So 170 times more neural development by saying your limiting beliefs out loud. Right? So that means for every time you say something bad about yourself, it would take 170 positives to rebalance the changes on the cellular level of your brain. Which is why it is so important to make everything a win. Because your brain's it's not looking for wins, it's not looking for like healthy apples in the tree, it's looking for the saber-toothed tiger that's going to bite your ass. Because to carry on your life, you have to not be dead. You don't necessarily have to be happy. Happy is a choice that you get to make if you're not dead.
Yeah.
Right? So super important to like make the little things in life. Like, hey, we're talking right now. There's a computer. There's internet. There's lights. Like you're on the other side of Long Island right now. We're having a conversation in real time. Like these are all reasons to pat yourself on the back. Everything that goes on is a win. And you need to pay attention to it because your brain's paying 10 to 170 times more attention to the bad stuff that's going on and saying these are the things we need to pay attention to, which is why books like The Secret have become so popular, right? You put your attention to something that's going to come true. No, that abundance is around you all the time. It's a matter of what your reticular activating center is looking for and what you're actually paying attention to and acknowledging around you.
Yeah. And I think, coming back to day ones, and I think that gives you a litmus of what little victories you can even add to your day, things that you don't normally see. Me, when I start something, like I'm starting a new book a week program where I'm going to be reading a book a week. Whether I finish the book in the week or not, I'm at least going to start a book and read as much as I can in the week. And then obviously on my own time, I'll continue it if I like the book. If not, I'm just going to move on to another book, but I'm going to take something from every book that I have. And I have a huge bookshelf on the other side of the camera, with, everything from MMA stories to how to produce television shows. It's, and I'm going to take something and I'm going to read at least a chapter and come through my current book, and I leave it on my desk, my current book that I'm reading, so I can pick it up when I go through. So my day one is, I put the book on the desk and I put it here. And every time I pick it up and read something from it, to me, that's a victory. So that day one has given me another victory that I can use to balance, the negative to the positive. So giving yourself those little victories are going to help you along the way, too.
And I like that you made the rule like, hey, this book is going to be on my desk. Like you made it accessible for you to win. Yeah. So often the things that we make our rules for our beliefs in our life or our values are against each other or impossible to achieve. I need to make everybody happy all the time. There's a lot of fucking people on the planet. There's no way you're making them all happy because you're going to make the one person that hates the other person happy, and then this person's going to hate you for it. Right? Like, there's no way it can be achievable, right? Like, and that so many times, like I found out in my own soul searching, my own programs that I've done, that I would have rules that were just completely counterintuitive to each other. Like, oh, I need to spend multiple hours sleeping. I need to sleep for 8 to 10 hours every night, but I also need to work a 20-hour day to make sure that I'm being successful as I want to. So the measure of success was like, be healthy enough to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep, but work 16 to 20 hours a day. That math doesn't add up. And there's no way for me to win. There's no way for me to get a point in that, right? So like I do a point system with people. I'm like, make the rules in your game and collect your points. See how many Bob points that you can get.
Yep. Which is ironic because on my Twitch channel, they're called Bob Points. Join the Twitch, earn a Bob point, spend them. And I think that's definitely one of the important things, is that setting your goals on that first day is going to be super important as well. So give us an example of what you would do for a day one in fitness.
In fitness. All right, cool. So, like I said, you got to look at where you are, right? Like, are you, hey, it's day one in fitness and I've been pretty active, pretty healthy, weekend warrior, playing ball with the kids, hiking, cycling here and there. Or you're like, hey, you know what? Like, I've been on the couch for the last 40 years. I've been, sitting in my beanbag naked eating Cheetos. Right? Like, where are you starting from? And the first thing is like, make a decision that you're going to do something that's going to move you towards your goals. Right? You don't even have to know what your goal is outrightly. Be like, hey, like my goal is healthier. Right? The simpler the goal is in the beginning, the more momentum you're going to get. Right? You can't start an avalanche without a snowflake. Right? So the first thing I like to do with people is say, like, cool, like, what is your general direction? Like, we have two options, towards goals and away goals. Your first decision needs to be like, I'm going to move in a direction that moves me towards my goals. My goal being, I'm healthier, I'm fitter, whatever it's going to be. Excellent, cool. Then the next thing is taking a long-term goal. In your peak dreams, if anything could happen, I could wave a magic wand, poof, bippity boppity boo, you had your dream come true. What would it be? Right? Is it, hey, cool, like, you know what? I'd like to be able to run a mile. That would make me happy. Or it's like, I want to, climb Mount Everest, or I want a 4-minute mile. Like, what is it going to be for you and that person's individuality? And then you can start looking at it and saying, okay, how do you take steps towards that? Right? Fitness isn't earned in a day. Health isn't earned in a day. In fact, there's a lag factor. You didn't eat one donut and gain 70 pounds. You ate 70 pounds worth of donuts over a period of time. And in fact, if you ate 70 pounds of donuts in one day, you wouldn't gain 70 pounds the next day. You'd go to the bathroom a lot, but, you wouldn't have gained that much weight. Maybe a half pound, like probably not, because it takes a while for your body to absorb those nutrients and those calories, right? So it's working with a person to really kind to an objective and say like, cool, what do you want to do? Let's increment it, and let's make a plan that's achievable for you. Right? If the plan is to run a mile and you haven't gotten off the couch in 40 years, maybe your goal is, I'm going to get up and walk to the mailbox. And that's what I did with my grandmother. Right? Grandmother was like, I get exercise. I clean the cat box every morning. My grandma, that's not exercise. That's housekeeping. Right? There's a difference there. It's general lifestyle. So we made her walk to the mailbox. And her goal was walk to the mailbox once per day. And then we said, okay, cool. You're going to walk to the mailbox once per day. You're 5 days per week, but on 2 days, you're going to make 2 trips. Oh, big step up, right? And I said, okay, then we're going to walk to the neighbor's mailbox 1 day a week, with 1 trip being a double mailbox and the other 3 days being regular trips to the mailbox. Right? So incrementally increasing it. Because the idea of being like, Grandma, cool, go run a mile. You haven't gotten off the couch in 70 years. Not going to happen. And in fact, your body's going to have so much lag factor that when you do it, you're going to be so sore and broken, you're never going to want to do it again. Right? You can't just, and there's a lot of mistakes that happen. Like people are like, oh, cool, I'm going to run 10 miles today to start my fitness journey. And then they get so sore, so tired, so achy. They have to push themselves mentally to such a point to get through it because after mile 1, they're like, this sucks. The next 9 miles are miserable, that they have such an adverse Pavlov's dogs, conditioned response that it's bad. You got to keep that goal always joyful, always something you're rewarding for, right? So regardless of what the person is, find where you are, find what that big goal is, segment it into achievable portions, and make them really achievable. Make it a third of what you'd expect, right? Because a person that wants to save $1 million still needs to start with a penny, right? Like, okay, first week I'm saving $100,000. Like, chances are you're not willing to put the effort in, or don't have the skills, techniques, or endurance to do so. Right? So starting off small, like a snowflake, to build a snowball, to eventually make an avalanche, is the only way that you're going to have repeatable and sustainable results. Which is an important thing, because a lot of people, like average Bob, comes in many sizes and shapes, right? We're working with an elite athlete, we'll be able to push you differently. But if you're average Bob, that's just your first day in 40 years, and you're like, you know what? My doctor's been saying I'm overweight, I have high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Here's a good question to ask. If you're a father, do you want another man to walk your daughter down the aisle? Chances are probably not. Right? If you're a mother, do you want to see your husband walk your daughter down the aisle on her wedding day? Chances are probably yes, right? Like you both want to be there for that moment. So now's the time to change. What's one thing you can do that's going to move you towards that goal? Right? The question I ask myself constantly, the question I have all my clients ask, what is the next right thing you can do right now? You ask that question a couple times per day, you're going to have an outstanding life. What's the next right thing I can do? Is it, hey, put down the bag of Doritos. I love Doritos. Can have them sometimes. Put them down most of the time, right? Is it, hey, you know what? Maybe I should turn the TV off and walk around the house. Like literally walk around the outside of your house and come back in and turn the TV back on. Right? If you're doing one thing that's moving you towards your goal, one is always greater than none. How many one things can you stack up to make that 2, 3, 4, 5? Now it's a lifestyle. It's easily adaptable. It's easily maintainable. It's easily sustainable. And it's enjoyable. You keep doing it. You're going to have results. You're going to have success. You're going to enjoy the process. It becomes who you are. It becomes part of your identity. It's part of your beliefs, part of your values, and then your actions will follow suit.
Very well said. Very well said. And I think you also brought up making smaller goals to get to that bigger goal. And one of the things I'm trying to get people to realize as well is that you were not just getting to that goal, and it's okay to mess up and to fall and to slip and have to start another day one again, because obviously, like you said, if your goal is so lofty and you go to run 10 miles and the first mile is miserable, and then you go for your next 9 miles being miserable, the next time you want to run, you may not do it, so you may fall off of that goal, and you may need another day one again, and that's okay, because everybody slips and falls, but having another day one is okay to do, but you have to look back at what you did. And I think you gave us a solution for that, and that's just one solution, is to make smaller goals that you can obtain now, like walking to the mailbox, then walking to the next mailbox. Something I do when I go running, which I hate running. I am the world's least fan of running, but when I do run, I start off with walking from one telephone pole to another, and then I'll sprint the next telephone pole, and then I'll walk the next telephone pole, and then the next day I might walk one telephone pole and sprint 2 telephone poles, giving myself that smaller goal of slowly working my way up to be a better person. Me personally, I don't need to sprint 3 telephone poles. I'll be happy with 2 telephone poles, and I'm okay with that. But that goal is a check mark in my box that I'm going to be able to take into my other goal of getting fitter, healthier. I'm not looking for a physique of a Athenian god. I'm looking to just be healthier for myself, so that one day I can walk somebody down the aisle, a daughter down the aisle, so that I can be there, so that I can steal one more day in my life, because that's something that I think everybody doesn't look at, is that life is just a series of days and days and days that you get to do whatever you actually want to do, and that you need to make sure that you're doing things that you want to do. So
the reality is, like you said, the path towards your goals is paved in stones of failure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, you're not going to want to hear it. You're going to fucking fail. There's going to be a day you slip on your diet. There's going to be a day you skip your workout. There'll be a day that you go to the workout and you do a half-ass job of it. It's going to happen, right? But those are lessons, right? The universe gives us 2 reasons why we have challenges. One, to realize, are we making the same mistakes over and over and over again, and recognizing the pattern and stopping it? And then if we have stopped the pattern and we're still having the same problem, the same challenge keeps coming up, what other skill, technique, learning situation do I need to bring and develop into my repertoire of tools to overcome this challenge? Right? So it's either like stop making the same stupid mistake over again, or learn something new. Right? And by learning something new, then you also have the opportunity to go, okay, cool. I can move forward with this now. I can change in this direction. I have this in my arsenal. Sometimes it is just getting back up. It's the old Rocky. You fall down. Hey, it may knock me down 7 times, but I got up 8. Hey, like, you're going to win. Right? Sometimes just outlasting. And the idea is so many people either have their goal being perfection, which is unattainable. Nothing ever hits perfection. It's never going to happen. It's the worst goal ever. Small incremental goals, much better. Or 2, they want to achieve so much that the time frame to do so isn't too little of a time frame, right? And they try biting off more than they can handle. And it just doesn't work that way. right? Like setting yourself up these small little incremental goals and realizing that, hey, at some point you're going to get knocked down and you get back up. That's the course of action that wins. There's one single formula that goes across anything, be it fitness, finance, health, mindset, business. One formula: consistency plus consistency. So you need to be persistent in that, hey, when you get knocked down, you get back up again. You need to be consistent. You need to do the same course of events over and over again to make sure that it's the right way of doing it. And you need a strategic method, right? If you keep waking up every single day looking for a sunset, wake up every morning, I'm going to go find a sunset today. Awesome. You're doing it every single day. You're consistent. Good chance, right? If you're like, I'm going to wake up different times, some days I'm not, you got a much harder chance of finding it. So you need to be consistent. Wake up every day and look for the sunset. 2, you need to have a plan, right? You have to have something to be persistent about, right? So what are you persistent? Oh, man, I am going to keep walking east, man. I am walking east. I'm walking east. I'm persistent. I got up today. I walked east. I didn't see a sunset. Okay. What's your methodology? Oh, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Doesn't matter how many days you're consistent and persistence. If you're walking east looking for a sunset, you're never going to find it. You also need to have the methodology. And there's 2 ways that you get a methodology: trial and error, in which case you need to fail and fail forward and fail fast. You fail forward, get yourself back up and keep moving towards your goal. Don't letting that failure stop you. Or you find a teacher or a mentor, somebody that has the experience, that knows where the obstacles are, that know where the points where you're going to slip up, where you're going to fail, where things are going to knock you off track. And they have the techniques, tools, and resources to either avoid them to begin with or to get you through them faster. Because the faster you can fail forward, the sooner you'll hit your goals.
All right. Excellent. All right. So we have run out of time today. But what I would like you to do, just tell everybody where they can find you so that, when they're looking for the modern day monk, they can kind of internet stalk you and maybe ask you a couple of questions.
Awesome. So easiest ways to find me is under my name right now, RJ Champouillon. I'm sure Bob will have that typed out somewhere for you. It's a lot of letters in there, a lot of vowels. You can find that on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm really active. Facebook, I'm super active on as well. I have some pages as well, too. You can also search for me as The Modern Day Monk. You'll find me some resources there. And then we have resources for my gym and my health practice as well, too. Point of Life Wellness and DHP Health and Fitness.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for showing up today. For everybody else, thank you for swinging by Average Bob Fitness. You can find us over on YouTube at Average Bob Fitness, Facebook at Average Bob Fitness, and Twitter at Average Bob Fit. They wouldn't let us use the NIS on the end. It was very weird. But thank you again, Ryder, and you'll be welcomed back anytime on the show. All right.
As much as you want me, man. I love sharing my knowledge and information to people and trying to help the world get to a better place. That's my duty.
Definitely. Everybody stay happy and stay healthy.